Oh, goody, goody, here it comes.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show.
You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
Oh my God, don't stop now!
With your hosts, Brian, John, and Elaine.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show at the Madhouse for film freaks and film fans of all types. I'm your host, Brian Coddington, joined by my fellow co-hosts and filmmakers, John and Lane Woolscroft.
This show is flowing with synergy, wouldn't you say, Brian?
You son of a bitch.
Brian just told us over dinner that synergy is his most hated word.
Showtime synergy.
I'm not, this isn't even a joke either. Like, you son of a bitch. That's the one word
This
I
is
can't
the thing that ended
stand.
your friendship. I'm amazed.
Hey, Psychos Nation, tweet at Brian Coddington synergy.
Is that what we're calling our fan base, Psychos Nation?
It is
That's
now.
actually pretty cool. I like that.
It is. This, or the Psychos synergy, since synergy means
The
nothing.
synergy Psychos.
What the fuck?
Hey, look, all right, I've had a really bad week and I'm lashing out.
Okay, fair enough. You fucking synergy bastards.
Look, Elaine, we didn't want the baby anyways.
It's true.
Oh, shoot.
Wow, that got dark.
It was triplets.
Welcome, everyone, to this shit show.
Oh god. Well, this is. I mean, speaking of shit shows, we got a fun one.
Guys, bird shit, if you will.
Bird shit.
Are we on 70? Is this 70?
This is episode 69.
69, bro.
Oh,
So-
how could I forget?
Well, here's the thing. If you remember when we were talking about what episode we were going to be doing,
That's right.
You know, I brought up the idea of, well, since it's 69, why don't we do a adult parody film
And
like
I said,
Edward
"Fuck
Penis Hands?
no." I said,
Yeah, we
"Fuck
really
no."
should have done Edward.
I was not in the mood to see like flaps and balls this week.
It would have
Sorry,
been Flaps
y'all.
and Balls. It would have been Edward Penis Hands
Or Foreskin Gump.
or Forrest Gump.
You guys are both like almost academic in this moment, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on with
It's
my life?
69. Come on. But anyway, we went with second best choice, which I think this might actually be like the top pick of our
A moving
Pantheon.
dildo of a movie, if you will.
I think this might be our top pick of the Pantheon of Utter Shit.
This
So,
might be
so
our
what, like
Zeus, is what we're
Hemingway's-
saying.
This
Our
is what
Zeus,
I'm thinking. It might be the Zeus.
the Zeus of our pantheon.
So like Hemingway's movable feast, this is a movable dildo? Is that what you're
It
saying?
is. It's a
Yeah.
movable dildo
So-
of a film.
So we're going to be discussing the perennial classic Birdemic Shock and Terror
From
today.
2010.
For episode 69. I can't wait for episode 96 where we flip over and shit in each other's hair.
Well, maybe we'll do Birdemic 2.
Maybe,
God. And there is a Birdemic too.
The reburdening. But before all of that, shall we talk about some really interesting news in the world of movies, gang?
Yeah, Lane, let's.
Cool. That was weird. So I think this is an awesome story. I don't know a ton of the insider details. I mostly just know from other sources that have reported. But this is concerning actor Ed Skrein from Deadpool and from Game of Thrones. He was just recently, as recently as I think 2 weeks ago, he was cast in the Hellboy remake. And he was cast in...
There goes any hopes of Hellboy 3.
Well, we knew about that, though.
Yeah.
Well, he was...
Yeah, I think you're a much bigger fan than I. So I didn't pay too close attention to that.
Larry, can I finish? Guys, cutting me off. Kill you both.
Is that your Ross Perot?
No, it's just my annoyed and southern and ready to murder.
All right.
But anyway, so Ed Skrein was going to be... He was cast in the role of Major Ben, I think, Demio. I'm not sure how, just because I'm not... Hellboy isn't one of my fandoms.
Yeah.
But it's a Japanese-American character. And, someone didn't put their phone on silent.
That wasn't me.
No, I think I just got a really good idea.
Yeah. or a really interesting fart. But anyway, so Ed Skrein was, cast in this Japanese American role that's a part of the BPRD as far as like the fandom is concerned. And again, another prime example of Hollywood whitewashing, rightfully so. There was a big backlash. And in an unprecedented move, Ed Skrein stepped down from the role and said he would not be doing it. And said that he's not going to be in the film. And I mean, to walk away from a major franchise like this for the right reasons, like, hats off to you, Ed. Like, I mean, that's amazing.
Now, he must be doing pretty well to just ditch a big opportunity.
Well, because God forbid you just do the right thing, John.
Not necessarily. He's not as big of a star as you would think. He's not on like the A-lister. I think he's probably more like
he was on Game of Thrones, but he's not anymore.
But, and I mean, he was kind of a forgettable villain in Deadpool.
Right. Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So, I mean, for him to basically walk away from what could have been a career-enhancing move, that takes some balls. And I mean, I'm glad that he did it because this happens too much.
My favorite thing about it is that he made no bones about it, and he was very clear. Mm-hmm. He didn't just, walk away, leaving people to speculate, oh, well, maybe it was his contract or whatever. He said, he posted on, I believe on Twitter, his statement, and basically saying that, representing this character in a culturally accurate way holds significance for people, and that to neglect this responsibility will continue a worrying tendency to obscure ethnic minority stories and voices in the arts. So for him to be so clear about this in that instance, it's absolutely amazing. And what he said is, representation of ethnic diversity is important, especially to me as I have a mixed heritage family. It is our responsibility to make moral decisions in difficult times and to give voice to inclusivity. I mean, come on. You can't get better than that. He said, I'm sad to leave Hellboy, but if this decision brings us closer to, a day of equal representation in the arts, it's worth it. And I hope that it makes a difference. So, it's not a very long story, but, what an awesome thing to be able to, talk about on the show right now, that someone just did the right thing so profusely.
Did you hear also, and this is kind of a follow-up to that, Chloe Bennett, who plays, she's in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah. She
also commented on this as a, Asian American actress.
Okay.
She mentioned how she had to change her name to Bennett. That's not her given name.
Oh, okay.
And her given name, she said, was if she didn't change her name, she wouldn't have been able to eat because of the fact that Hollywood is basically racist. She said this. She was like, I had to change my name because I had to pay the rent. I had to do this and that and the other thing. And basically she was remarking how racist Hollywood is. And I'm not surprised by any of this.
Well, Brian, Brian, you're one of the chosen people. How many times throughout history have Jewish people had to change their name? Stan Lee had to change his name to get a job in the comic book industry. Jon Stewart changed his name. Well, went by his middle name pretty much. I believe Stewart's his middle name. But, this is, an historic problem that I'll change my name to something more Caucasian sounding, waspy sounding.
And the funny thing is, the stereotype is that Jewish people, they run Hollywood, so it's kind of their shop. But here's the thing: you've got people like Jon Stewart, Stan Lee, everyone else who, even though they're in a medium that apparently is run by us, they still want the waspy Caucasian person. They want that name. They want the Tom Cruise. So to speak.
Did you say Chloe Bennett?
Chloe Bennett, yes.
Okay, I don't know why I thought you said Claire Bennett, and I was like, isn't that the cheerleader from Heroes?
Chloe Bennett.
I'm sorry. I just want to make sure that it wasn't just my brain.
She plays Daisy on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Gotcha. And then she's of Chinese descent?
I believe Asian American.
Okay.
But it might be Chinese.
Yeah, because I remember her. She was on a very brief arc in Nashville.
Yeah.
So she's been in the business for a while.
She's a really good actress, but I mean, she kind of, gained her real popularity through Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And one of the things she said is that, by coming out and basically calling Hollywood out on how racist they actually are, she's trying to make it so that other people don't have to change their names.
You'll never work in this town again.
Roles.
Yeah. Well,
she had some people who were pissed off at her because she changed her name.
Oh yeah, no, there's been a lot of hate, and that's almost as absurd as the fact that she had to change her name and did it in the first place. Like, I mean, anybody that's like, she's wrong and she's bad, and I mean, for the fact that she felt like she had to hide, like, that is so fucked up. That is so fucked up.
Yeah.
Because I think her real last name was Wang.
Yes. That's correct.
Yeah, and I mean, I understand that like a lot of people would be upset that it happened because, you know, it seems like playing into Hollywood's racism and everything, and that's great, but like she was able to be
work.
Yeah, and now she's famous enough to say, hey, this is something that I had to do, and this is fucked up. If she had kept it, you know, she may not have been able to get those roles and might not have the platform that she has now. You know, I mean, everybody has to do the choices in life that are right for them, and you cannot judge someone else's choices because you're not in their shoes.
Look, you can either play the stereotypical Asian yourself or let it go to Mickey Rooney.
Oh God. Oh, that's a chapter we don't need to go over.
I just remember watching Breakfast at Tiffany's for the first time, and I went, "Oh wait, no, wait, what? Did I accidentally just stumble upon another movie in the middle of this?"
Yeah. So anyway, lots of interesting things going on about the whitewashing of Hollywood, but I think Ed Skrein's getting it right. I think we need to see more of this as time goes on, you know, and having this dialogue, I think, is so important, you know, to keep talking about this sort of thing and to really, you know, fight for realistic casting. And, you know, everyone's going to be watching who gets the role now, and it better be right, you know?
That's right.
We'll see what happens as time flies by. Speaking of flying, I think we should get to our episode of Birdemic, but not until we have a little soundy bite here from our friends at the Epicast Network.
Hey, thanks for listening to the Epicast Network show that you're listening to right now. Isn't it great?
Yeah. Come on. Thanks for listening to anything.
Exactly.
You could be listening to normal radio like a pap, and you're not. You're listening to things on a computer like a grown person right now in 2015.
My name is Sean Collier. This is my co-host, Aaron Kleiber. Mm-hmm. We have a movie review show. It's called You Can't Handle the Truth.
It's more than that, though. We get to be fun.
Yeah, it's about everything. But you know what we do? You know, there's a lot of movie reviews in the world. But a lot of those people, they don't know you. They can't relate to you.
And you know what their dreams were, like when they were in high school, was to go to NYU, and they didn't. And then they were like, I want to write for Rolling Stone. And guess what? They didn't. Now they have a blog on Tumblr.
Our dreams were to talk about movies to you. And we're living them.
We were those people that would sit around a TGI Fridays until 1 a.m. and get kicked out because we were sitting there talking about how Terminator 2 is so good. Okay, we're those guys.
And now you can get in on that action.
Get in on that action.
We go to an advanced screening, and we record as soon as we walk out of the theater. We don't stop to think about it and look up what Kurosawa would have done. We're just talking about it.
And bonus, we're moderately funny comedians who've had moderate success. So,
exactly.
I don't know. You might be in for something good.
Get that every week on You Can't Handle the Truth, a proud part of the Epicast Network.
That was good. Proud.
I think that was good.
Proud to be an American.
Listen to us. Now, back to the show you chose to listen to.
And we're back. That was a message from our friends over at the Epicast Network, specifically You Can't
Handle the Truth.
What the fuck? Seriously, you had to cut me off again. So, yeah.
Little interrupty pants. That's just you. You're just a little interrupty.
You really are.
A little interrupty.
You really are. Yeah, check them out. They got some great movie reviews. I think their newest one that just came out is on Indiana Jones Temple of Doom.
Yes.
So you definitely want to check that out.
Good time.
Check them out at theepicastnetwork.com. So, yeah, our featured review.
My.
Seriously.
The greatest thing that's ever happened to John. Fun story about us personally. When John went to turn 30.
25. Oh, sorry. What would you say?
When you went to turn 30.
When you turned 30.
Yeah.
30. I thought that watching a terrible movie with all of our friends might be the most fun thing that we could possibly do. So we rented out a theater here locally in Pittsburgh, and I had my copy of the Blu-ray, and we had some beers, and we watched Birdemic, and it was pretty great. It was a good time. You were there, Brian.
I was there. That was the first time I saw Birdemic.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously I'm sure that you clicked on this because you saw Birdemic, but we are talking about Birdemic, Shock and Terror from 2010, right?
Yeah, 2010.
2010.
Somehow this movie took 4 years to make.
From visionary writer-director James Wynn, by the way.
Yeah, and we've done a lot of different kind of things here on Pantheon of Utter Shit. Some movies weren't that awful; they were just a little strange. Like, what was it? Dead Heat, Cop Heat. What was that Piscopo movie?
Dead Heat was that was Len's pick for us, and that
movie's passable. It's just bizarre.
Movie, here's the thing: this is the only film that I could say cannot pass as a film. Okay, I'm sorry.
Everything's wrong.
Everything about this movie, from top to bottom, left to right, start to finish, is god awful. It's terrible. And honestly, I wish we were live streaming this because my arms are all going all over the fucking
getting
place.
More upset
Brian is trying to scare the bear that just came into our picnic site. Get out of here! Ah!
But I mean, I'm not wrong here. It literally can. How does it pass as a movie?
All right.
Well, that's what we were talking about, because we talk about these movies for all different reasons. And, John and I were driving somewhere. I forget where we were going, but we were saying, what is the be all end all failure of this film? Like, what is it that makes it so bad?
Well, snuggle in and listen closely, my lovelies. Not every day does a movie screw everything up. The acting, the directing, cinematography, audio, tone, the story itself, the special effects, everything. Editing is just an utter mess. It takes effort and talent to get everything wrong, but this movie gets every single thing you can do in a movie incorrect.
And it's funny because, we've done obviously the granddaddy of them all, The Room, but you can tell that someone who's actually looked
This makes it
at...
look like Citizen Kane.
It does.
It's an Oscar-worthy film.
And I mean, you can tell that, whoever was behind the camera in The Room was doing their fucking best, and it doesn't look physically, it doesn't look that bad. It's a little jilted, and the writing's horrible, and the acting isn't very good, but... you can at least see that someone was behind the camera who had maybe gone to film school.
Here's the thing. The difference between The Room and Birdemic is The Room has charm. It's got a little bit of charm. It does. But that's the... No, listen. Listen. No. Okay, Lane, listen. Okay, every awesomely bad movie has a bit of charm.
It's true.
Every awesomely bad film, whether it's...
Because it's the utter failure of the human condition.
But yes.
It's charming because we're dark.
It's charming, but it always has a little bit of charm. Troll 2 has charm. Okay? Plan 9 from Outer Space has charm.
Oh,
okay?
He failed so hard.
But, you stupid boy.
Yeah, but my point is that The Room in all these movies, that's the one thing that kind of connects all of these. They all have a little bit of charm. I never said talent. I said charm. This movie has nothing.
It's true.
It is charmless.
Well, for me, it is a spectacular technological failure, and it's supposed to be visceral and frightening, and instead of really looking within and being creative,
it's supposed to shock you and terrify you.
I love you both so much, but if either of you interrupts me one more fucking time, I'm going to flip the table.
That wasn't me.
Well, try to bottle the answer, kid.
So for me, the technological aspect of it, where you're supposed to take something elemental and terrifying, you look at something like The Birds. I mean, how old and out of date is that movie? But it's still kind of scary. Instead of looking within and digging really deep and trying to, work around the limitations of being an independent filmmaker, man, he just went for those MS Paint-esque birds that just, it doesn't work. It makes it funny, and two, I think that the acting is probably the second part, because even if the special effects were terrible, maybe if the acting was good, they could try to sell it. But those two things together, for me, is what makes this film fail so hard.
So hard.
Oh my God.
Did somebody say hard?
Hard.
But yeah, this movie is just a special snowflake. And this is always my favorite type of film, is when the filmmaker thinks he's making high art.
He called himself visionary. Yeah. He calls himself visionary. I wish we really were doing this live, because Brian, I think your head's going to explode. He's so upset. But he calls himself, that's what it says in the trailer. It says, from visionary writer-director James Wynn. It's like, wait, what? This is the worst thing I've ever seen.
I had a visionary bowel movement, but you don't see me putting that on a fucking trailer.
Who doesn't like a visionary bowel movement, all right? Like, we need one of those once a week, I think.
But the director of Troll 2, Tommy Wiseau, the director of this film, Neil Breen, these guys have no idea how bad they are.
Neil Breen has to.
No, he doesn't.
Oh my God.
I think this guy realizes how bad he is.
I don't think he does, though.
There's tons of interviews where he doesn't get it.
He tried so hard.
I think it's an act. I seriously think it's an act.
You know why?
Fox, then, you know why I think it's an act? Because he's putting it all the way to the bank, okay? People think this movie is a cult classic, and he made a sequel that you would think, making a sequel, you might get better. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, the more movies you make, the more you're going to learn, right? Like, that's what I've always told anyone. The more you do something, the better you might get at it. You know, you might not make the same mistake. No, this fucker made the goddamn same mistakes again.
Well, when you don't think you made any mistakes to begin with, how do you correct them?
That's a very good point.
He makes an excellent point.
You make an excellent point, but he's got to know how to read, right? Like, he knows how to read reviews. Correct?
I don't know. Did you hear the dialogue? I don't know if he knows how to read it right.
It's true.
So, John, do you want to give us a little rundown of the plot?
Well, sure.
Some semblance of the plot. Because people are going like, I've never fucking watched Birdemic.
Well, for all of you interested in a movie called Birdemic, just a heads up, it takes 45 minutes in the film for the birds to show up. So, you got 45 minutes of these delightful, very fleshed out, thoughtful characters that you can learn to love before the birds show up. Speaking of driving, the movie opens up with 4 minutes. If you clock it, it's a little over 4 minutes of a camera on a dashboard looking out, blurry, looking out of a window as a car drives for 4 minutes while we get our opening credits. First up, Movie Head Productions. What the fuck?
Movie fellatio.
Yeah. And then, we get our cast and crew. And here's where you know that your director is Vietnamese and struggles with English when you hit supporting casts. There's more than one.
Yeah, I mean, and don't get me wrong, like, we're gonna make fun of this dude for a lot of shit. I have a lot of respect for him making an independent film, you know, when obviously English is not his first language.
But where were the other people to say, hey, James?
Well, we have some insights onto that. There were not a ton of other people around, you know, plus, you know, if you're an actor, you're not going to correct somebody. But, you know, I just want to say that, like, the critique there is that he didn't have anyone oversee him, and he was very apparently stringent about the actors sticking to the script. Mm-hmm. So it's the stubbornness that we're commenting on, not anything else. I want to be clear about that.
Well, it's funny you should say that, Elaine, because a lot of people in the opening and closing credits are made up by James to make the film look like.
Are you serious?
Yeah, John told me that today. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
that's
half
insane.
of the cast and crew are made up to make the film seem more.
It's because he didn't want to put his name on there multiple times.
Yeah. Yeah. Written by James. Directed by James. Produced by James. But after we finally stop driving, we get introduced to our hero.
Now you're forgetting
Rod.
You're forgetting one really important point about that opener.
Yes.
10 seconds of the same stock, like the 10-second stock music on repeat. Okay? It's the same 10 seconds just looping over and over. You're like, oh, okay, this music sounds good. And then again and again
if
and
you're
again
gonna find stock music, make sure it's 4 minutes long.
Well, unless he wants us to just slip into utter madness and we forget how bad the film is because we're crazy.
That could have been
that could be it. Yeah,
could have been his evil plan. You never know.
So we get introduced to Rod, who steps into a diner, and this is where we get our first, if you don't count the audio looping, our first delicious taste of incompetent audio that wouldn't be allowed in an intro to filmmaking class.
And we know. We know. We've taken multiple intros.
Brian teaches film class.
I teach his film. This guy would have been kicked out.
Where the waitress asks him, oh, would you like to be seated? And there's no audio, and as soon as she talks, it's just this blaring, loud,
garbled mess.
And then it cuts off the second she stops talking.
Yeah.
And then when he talks, it cuts in. So obviously there was a lot of, background noise when they were speaking, and they just cut out the pieces where they weren't talking. There was just dead air, but that's even more distracting. And it was the waitress like from Bulgaria or something?
Something. She was just blonde.
Yeah,
Her voice is very bizarre.
She was just like, "Hi."
It's like different, but still, I mean, the audio problems in this scene are definitely what are at hand as far as the issue.
And and the actor that plays Rod, I reached out to him. He didn't have a whole lot to say, but it's like a serial killer robot in his take at this performance. I mean, I'm sorry, dude, but your acting is really, really bad.
Yeah, that was kind of disappointing. Do you want to tell the boys and girls at home like what happened with Rod?
Yeah, I asked him, on Twitter if he could give us just kind of a soundbite, from the film, just like, just a quick paragraph of what it was like working on the film. And he sent back, it was shocking and terrifying. Ha ha.
Oh, that's...
I mean, he could have been mean. He could have been way bigger of a jerk. But, at least he did answer you, John. And one thing I will say is that he probably gets bothered about these films. Because there's two. Birdemic and Birdemic 2.
How can we forget?
And, he probably gets bugged for this a lot. So I'm going to give him a half pass. The half is because he could have come up with a better joke.
That's true.
Because he still takes himself very seriously. Look at that IMDb photo.
That is.
He's given some blue steel, y'all. So he clearly still cares.
That's a nice beard.
He clearly still cares a little. Yeah, you do. You have a nice beard.
But his performance is like Arnold in Terminator without actually being a robot in Forrest Gump. That's the best way to basically describe Rod. But it's not intentional.
No,
Rod is supposed to be a genius salesman. And charismatic.
I mean, he basically, everything goes Rod's way.
Oh, yeah.
The entire movie. Everything goes his way.
Even though he's a doofus ass clown.
Yes, he is. His character is a doofus ass clown. He's a bro not trying to be a bro, and he's got his bro best friend, I look at his face and I'm just like, I hate you. And I'm talking about the character.
I was gonna say that's not quite fair.
I'm not talking about the actor. I'm talking about the character here.
All
but
right.
He's a salesman, and he's like a software salesman. Okay, and over the course of literally half an hour, he goes from software salesman who catches the big fish, and he's like, oh, how much is the big fish? $1 million. Woo. Okay, this is literally in the movie.
After he takes 50% off without even having to bargain with the guy. He's a horrible salesman.
He is. He's a terrible salesman. Okay, and then on top of that, he's talking to the woman he stalked, Natalie, which, that's it. It's stalking. Okay?
It is. It's very problematic. I mean, there's a lot more at hand in this movie, but don't come to this one for representation of women in film, kids.
It's gone.
Just go home.
It's gone.
Just go home.
But, on top of being a genius salesman and how he has a mind for sales, he also talks about how, his company's going to get bought out by Oracle and he's going to be a bajillionaire. And what do you know? That happens.
It doesn't make any sense.
It makes no sense.
Well, and then he sells a green tech company in a week for $10 million.
Yes, with the most ridiculous PowerPoint I've ever seen.
Yeah, a PowerPoint, $10 million. Like, sign me up! That PowerPoint blew me away.
And apparently, he's got an extra $20,000 just burned a hole in his pocket for solar panels.
Yeah. Well, remember, he took $1,000 off. The salesman.
Oh well, wow.
Like,
19.
Shit. Yeah.
That's a steal right there.
Well, for 19,000, I mean, I would probably do it too. But Natalie, our heroine, comes into the diner. Leaves, and Rod, like a serial killer, just starts stalking her down the street. And then they stop, and filmmaking 101, don't frame your shot in front of a state farm.
Oh yeah, there's so much copyright infringement on this sucker, it's not even funny.
It's not even that, it's just distracting as all hell, and it's like, State Farm did not pay for that plug. It was just because they didn't think, maybe we should move it a couple inches over to where there's a brick wall. No, it's just State Farm behind Natalie's shoulder as they're talking. And Rod's like getting that phone number by that boyish charm he has.
See, if this scene were to go down the way a normal filmmaker would make it, okay, Rod creeps on Natalie.
He's so creepy.
Natalie is not impressed by his boyish charm, but more repulsed and tries to pull backwards and run away.
The physical recoil is actually noticeable.
It would be physical recoil. It would not be, oh wow, let's go on a date. Okay, but that's real filmmaking. Mm-hmm. That's studying how real human beings interact, especially people from high school that you haven't seen in like 20 years.
This movie was made by an alien. It really, I think like an algorithm made this movie. No, Watson.
Google.
Yeah, Watson.
Google made this movie.
Yeah.
Seriously.
But Rod, of course, gets the phone number because, that's how Rod rolls.
Because it's everything goes Rod's way.
Did he take Felix Felicis before this day? That's a Harry Potter joke for all you nerds out there. It's liquid luck. Everything good happens to you that day.
Nerd.
Whatever. You guys were like singing the Cheesy Poof song when I went down to my car at like a half an hour ago.
What's your point?
Yeah.
You guys are fucking nerds.
We have a Terminator.
That's how this works. That's how this works, guys.
What's your point?
We're all nerds is my point.
But then Rod, back at home, watches the news about global warming, and this is baffling.
And upsetting.
The news broadcast.
All right, so the news broadcast is
fucking hell.
because we've all seen the news. It's usually from the waist up. This person is shot from like the shoulders up with like a half a foot of headroom above him.
Yes.
And
For
TV
people who don't know what headroom is, that's basically the space between the top of the frame and your head.
Yes. And the top of your head and the top of the frame.
Yeah.
It's like the tragedy of like all moms everywhere. They either cut your head off or like there's way too much space like up above and like the Grand Canyon is not behind you.
As long as you're in the frame, they take the photo.
Yeah. Exactly.
And there's a TV screen next to her because I guess maybe James didn't know how to just shrink a photo
Did you also notice that the video that was playing in the news broadcast had Getty Images written across it?
Yeah, it had a watermark because he stole the damn image.
Yeah, because it's a stock. So he not only stole a stock photo, but he found a stock photo that still had the watermark on it. Is what we're saying. Guys, buckle in. It just gets better. It gets better. And Brian's blood pressure is getting really high.
Oh, in case you haven't guessed, this movie is a not so subtle take on, first off, a ripoff of The Birds, the Hitchcock film, but also an inconvenient truth. Clearly, the director saw that movie and wanted to make a global warming propaganda piece.
And
Which I'd like to say is a noble end. We don't talk about climate change that much, and that is what this is supposed to be about.
But not when you get everything wrong. It only hurts the cause.
Agreed.
Here's the thing. Remember in grad school, we had to make a film that dealt with the environment. And I made a movie about a zombie apocalypse caused by hydraulic fracturing.
That's true.
Okay?
You did.
You were in it.
That's true.
Okay? That is competent filmmaking. Not to toot my own horn, but I'm just saying that's how you go about it. You don't do this shit.
In a perfect world, he would have done this very thing and not failed. But here we are, because he failed.
I hate this movie.
All right, so keep going, John.
Now we rejoin Rod at work, who is closing, as we had mentioned just a couple minutes ago. The big deal. He catches the big fish, and this is where his acting just really shines when he gets off the phone and goes, "Woohoo!"
I love how you kept your eyes completely dead when you cheered like that. That was actually very scary to me as your wife.
That's because my soul died a little bit from that.
Yeah, hey, Sales 101. If you're talking and you don't even hear the person's reaction in the other line, don't offer 50% off if you not even gauge their reaction. So he could have had a $2 million deal, but he didn't keep his fucking mouth shut. Anyways.
Worst salesman ever.
This is when we get introduced to his buddy. And Brian, you have IMDb up, right? What is the name of his buddy?
Is it Tony?
Captain Horny.
I think it's Tony. Yeah.
Captain Horny.
Here's the thing. He doesn't have a picture.
I know. Some of them don't. I feel like this is the only thing that a couple of them ever did.
My guess is it's Tony on here. It's not Ramsey, obviously.
No, so
it's probably Tony.
I think, wasn't Ramsey that dude they meet at the hotel later?
Yeah, he was the guy who was had guns.
Yeah,
he had machine guns in his van. We'll get to him.
We'll get there.
Yeah, so his buddy is just a walking horn nut, just
his bro.
Yeah, he's a brah.
Brah.
But yeah, and then he tells, he caught the big fish, which, so that $1 million deal really doesn't even matter. But I guess it's just to show how Rod is a great salesman. Not that matters later in the movie in any way, shape, or form.
Doesn't pay off.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Now we rejoin Natalie, and once again, filmmaking 101 again.
I think you're going to be saying that through most of this episode, by the way.
Both are going to have a stroke before the night's over.
Don't photograph the cheapest, slimy, dirtiest looking 1-hour photo place you've ever fucking seen in your life. And she's a successful model.
It does. I mean, it's really bad. This isn't even as nice as like the Sears that you go to get your photos done, because those places are okay. This does not look as good as that.
No.
Hey, Jimmy, free advice. Find a big office building that has a big sign out front. Get a lockdown shot of it. Photoshop the front of the sign to say, like, so-and-so talent agency representatives, so that it looks fancy, like she's going into someplace it's a big deal. And
or
then
even
cut to
moderately
the inside
legit.
shots.
Like,
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off now. But, like, we don't even have to make this look fancy. Just moderately legit should be what we aim for. It should at least not look like she's going there to be murdered.
Not the kind of place that your creepy Uncle Ted goes with his mullet and his cheetah Speedo to get a shot on a bearskin rug with his handgun. You know, that's what this place looks like.
You know, here's my thing about that. The whole part is this is in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. Like, he made this movie in California. You're telling me that, and maybe this is just because we're in Pittsburgh, and honestly, our filmmaking tools are kind of limited compared to California. Okay? You're telling me that you could not rent the studio space for, like, I don't know, half a day and just do a mock photo shoot there. I know you didn't have any money, okay, obviously. That goes without saying. But you're telling me you couldn't just find a friend of a friend to do the modeling shot in?
Well, that's where I'm at, because, okay, I imagine renting anything in LA is probably balls out expensive, because studios here are expensive in Pittsburgh. But you're telling me that this was his opus. He's a visionary, and he didn't call in every dirty favor that he had. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Why didn't he have a friend who even just had an open space? I mean, we're friends with an art gallery. And if we really needed something, I know we could talk to them about it. Like, how did he not call in every favor to make this film as good as it could be?
And the idea about the renting studio space, okay, everyone in that area is involved in the film industry for the most part. Okay, it's like the steel industry used to be in Pittsburgh. Okay, you're telling me that there isn't a rinky-dink little studio that you can't just rent some time in? I really doubt that.
Yeah, I agree.
It's and there's not film organizations that he could belong to that could help him out. I mean, maybe I don't know how it is out there.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, from outside looking in, you've got a lot of opportunity in that entire state. You're telling me that the best you could do is a little 1-hour photo?
And two, I mean, maybe that's the difference between the coasts, because, I mean, I am always thinking critically about that stuff of, like, how can I make this look like something else? How can I get into this place? Mm-hmm. Who can I make friends with? And, you know, and return the favor in kind. I mean, you know, like, bartering out here, you know, in Pittsburgh, and especially in the arts community, it's very tight-knit, mm-hmm. and bartering is most certainly a thing.
Right.
You know, oh, well, you can use my space, but, you know, can I get your help, like, painting this next week? I mean, I would do that in a heartbeat for people, you know?
Absolutely.
You know, you help me with my film, and I'll help you with whatever the fuck you want. You know, like, I don't understand how he couldn't have found a better situation for himself to be in, which makes me think that he's not part of the community, Brian. He just kind of did this all on his own and didn't have any resources or any other outreach to back the film itself.
He bought a camera one day and said, "I'm a movie maker."
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But I think that might be what he did.
But yeah, so after she steps out of the photography center that sells pot out of the back,
at least it's pot and not kidneys.
She gets a call from her agent, and guess what? She hit the grand slam. She is now the main model for Victoria's Secret
at a place called Dream. Is it called Dream Models or something shit like that?
Something disgusting.
Something that was printed out on a computer out of a printer and just slapped on the wall.
And I always say to Elaine, this sounds like if a 7-year-old was writing it, and it's like, and now she's a model, where would she work? She's Victoria's Secret. It's like, oh, that's a little too heavy-handed. Could we pick something a little smaller? No, Victoria's Secret.
Maybe she's modeling for the cover of The Observer or something like that.
It's like, all right, he's crying, he's throwing a fit. It's Victoria's Secret. Just clearly, he doesn't understand anything. So now she's the main Victoria's Secret model, like Tyra Banks and Heidi Klum were.
Oh, yeah. They all get their pictures taken at the rinky-dink 1-hour photo place, And everybody knows that.
And it's awesome how her agent, like, hangs up the phone, and then they cuts back to her, and she's still talking to her for, like, 5 minutes.
How dare you?
Filmmaking.
Acting.
And then from there, Rod calls her.
Stalks her.
Yeah. And, they set up a date so they can go to a nice Vietnamese restaurant. Which
yes.
I can't imagine why they call it Vietnamese food.
They call it Vietnamese.
The director is Vietnamese, and he's just like, you know what? That's good enough.
You want to do a second take? No.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, we should go out to have Vietnamese food. She goes, that sounds great. I'll see you then. Never set a date and time. But they both just know where they're going.
They just showed up. What are you going to do?
That's right.
So they have a nice, delightful date where Rod says sales fits his personality. Where I thought like a dishwasher set was in line with his personality.
Who says that sales fits their personality?
It fits my personality.
I mean, is that something that you really want to talk about? Like, I guess you really love sales, maybe, but I don't know. Like, wouldn't you say like, oh, I really like football, or I really like movies, or I really like this TV show? That's how normal people talk. Mm-hmm. Like I do events and media for school. I don't say, oh yes, events really fits my personality. It's a job.
Well, and it's interesting, too, because it's sort of a very American construct to tie your job into who you are.
Yeah.
That's something that we do as a nation, and I'm surprised that coming from a non-American born director maybe that was the idea to kind of assimilate and make it seem more American, but I would have thought that, like, a non-American director might have even had, like, a situation where Rod said, like, I really like collecting bugs, y'all, like, or had something else going on.
Even if he mentioned how he really loves the environment, or really likes solar power, like those are things.
I really like solar power.
No, but that would come into play.
Captain
later
Planet
on.
is my favorite cartoon.
I mean, as awkward as that would be for a first date, it's still a better first date than this one.
Yeah.
Wait, I got it. Wait, no, it's Forrest Gump meets Frankenstein. I think that's his performance.
Oh, no, John.
So they have a delightfully awkward first date, and then Rod goes to drop Natalie off and says, hey, can I come in and fuck you?
No, he doesn't.
Essentially, he does.
Essentially, he's trying to, and she's like, no, not on the first date.
I love how the whole idea of it is like, he's the one that's not creepy after all this time. Like, he is totally fucking creepy, and you guys are lying to yourselves.
Oh, there's like a scene like 20 minutes later where she's like, all guys just want to have sex with me, and he's different. No. He tried to get in there and just pound that ass.
Oh my God, John, you can't talk like that.
Hey, can I come in and pound some puss?
John, come on. This is sliding to be even worse than imagined previously.
Oh, God.
You can't do these things.
But then we get the big news.
That
Rod's company is being bought out for $1 billion.
Oh my God!
And then begins the incessant, what was it, like 2-minute long clap session? And then we're not joking. That's literally what happens in the movie.
For a good 47 minutes, right?
Yeah. It was like 2 minutes, I think.
So the CEO of the company introduces the big sale, and everybody starts clapping. And once again, just like the music at the beginning of the movie, it's a looped clap, and it runs out. And instead of just simply, because they stretch it out, and they probably just, so it was 7 times in a row. Instead of cutting the ends of these and just kind of, merging them together, so there was kind of a seamless clapping, they just let it die out and come back in, die out and come back in. And for some reason, the clap goes on for probably about 3 minutes.
It's way too long.
Rod's buddy is dry humping him.
Yes.
There is a shot where he just starts dry humping his chair, just going to town.
Oh, that's right.
Who does that when the CEO is like standing right there?
Clearly someone who's not afraid of the CEO.
John just raised his hand.
There hasn't never been a hump that John has not attempted.
I mean, this is amazing. This might be the best scene in the movie. I'm not sure. It's right up there with when the birds explode piss onto people later in the movie. Have you noticed there's no fucking birds?
Yeah, there's no birds
yet. Recap of this movie.
No birds yet.
So Rod's going to take his newfound fortune and open a green tech company. And within 7 days, within 7 days, I sold my green tech company for $10 million. So the guy is now worth $10 million. It took him a week, one PowerPoint presentation in 7 days to be worth $10 million.
Maybe he really did have that Harry Potter luck juice.
I'm telling you.
Because...
I'm telling you. Felix Felicis. It's the good shit. I need that. I want $10 million, please.
In 7 days.
I mean, I'd settle for it in like 7 weeks. I'm not greedy.
So, I'd be fine for a year.
Right? I mean, I'm a patient lass.
You got to set $10 million. Okay, that's cool.
Totes.
So after that, Rod, Natalie, Captain Horny and his girlfriend.
Captain Horny.
There's something important about the Captain Horny and his girlfriend. Okay? So when we're first introduced to Captain Horny's girlfriend, it's in a very creepy kind of way. Captain Horny's on the bed, and she's in a orange bikini, and on top of him, and behind her...
A bikini, not underwear.
Yeah, that's the best part. It's a bikini and not underpants.
But the best part is that behind the girl on the wall is a website, okay, called Imagine Peace. And the first time I saw this, I was like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Not even framed. Like, they're trying to pass it off that, maybe it's artwork in the hotel. Mm-mm. No, it's just a piece of paper they tape to the wall.
Yes.
And guys, I've done a lot of research on this film.
More than anyone should do.
And then a lot in preparation for this episode. I can't find a single reason for this being in the movie.
What?
And I did some digging. I don't know why. Because later in the movie, spoiler alert, but we're getting there anyways, the girl is found dead by Rod and Natalie later in the movie, and she's wearing an Imagine Peace t-shirt.
Yes.
So clearly this was a very deliberate act.
Possibly the only one by the director.
I can only surmise that, and if you go to imaginepeace.com, what you'll find is a website for Yoko Ono. Mm-hmm. Okay. My guess is that this guy must have been a fan of Yoko Ono and thought that if I throw imaginepeace.com in this, that it'll attract her attention and she'll talk about this shitty ass movie.
Yeah, she'll have to answer questions about it.
Yes.
And a website for Yoko Ono. It's a shame that Mark David Chapman was nearsighted. Anyways.
That was savage.
Jesus Christ.
That might be the meanest thing you've ever said on the show.
One of the greatest rock and roll artists and musicians alive dies, and she lives. I think that's a fair trade. Anyways.
It's so rare when Brian and I just look at each other about your crazy. Normally we have no problem like confronting your crazy head on, but like Brian and I are like side-eyeing each other like, is this guy for fucking real? God, and I married you.
But anyway.
You're my husband.
But yeah, they go on a double date and they see An Inconvenient Truth, which this film was shot in 2008 and An Inconvenient Truth came out in 2006. So
even at the time of filming, it was 2 years old, and then this came out in 2010, making it 4 years old.
And who sees An Inconvenient Truth on a date?
Yeah, that's a weird movie to go on a double date.
And then he's really excited. It's
an odd choice.
Oh yeah, Inconvenient Truth, really good movie.
No. The exact wording, because it's sloppier even than that. What a great movie! An Inconvenient Truth.
It is the performance.
It is the performance. I can't act shitty. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You know what? And his friend's like, you know what? I'm buying me an environmentally friendly car.
Oh my God. Well, let's get to like the meat of some stuff here, guys. You know,
we're getting there.
We've had a lot of details, but you know,
we'll skip over how Rod, a multimillionaire, and Natalie, a Victoria's Secret cover model, go to a pumpkin fest randomly,
and meet their mom, and
cool. Yeah.
All sorts of weird shit.
Just going to say, let's not get too tedious because we got some good stuff and we have a surprise for you, Brian.
Surprise.
Now, we can't skip over the date that they have before they consummate the relationship because we can't skip over hanging with my family.
Oh, no. That's fine. Hanging with my family.
Out with my family.
Proceed.
So they must have clearly just shot at this bar after hours because there's no extras and it's just them on their second date. You know, and they hit the dance floor, and there's a song, hanging out with my family, having myself a ball.
Hanging out.
What is this fucking song?
It's literally loops.
Well, I mean, did you mention the part where it's in an empty restaurant?
Yeah, they're dancing by themselves on the dance floor.
Of this place clearly after hours.
Yeah.
Which, okay, he called in one favor, but you have to call in your friends and family to be extras, buddy. You can't just do the location. You need warm bodies.
His family disowned him.
My God, if they saw the film, I wouldn't blame them.
But, after this, they go to the cheapest hotel ever. Rod, you're a multi-fucking millionaire, and you take her to the dirtiest hotel. This has to be, like, the Crabs Inn, Where if you don't get crabs, we'll give you your money back.
The Chlamydia 6.
Yeah. Hepatitis A and B are guaranteed. C, maybe.
But you will get a staph infection.
So it's the super HIV/AIDS.
Yeah.
You will absolutely get a staph infection or your money back.
Yeah, so they wake up the next morning, and finally, guess what? The birds show up. And
there's nothing in the movie to this point that's led up to the birds situation. They could have started the movie here, and it would have been shorter, thank God.
Well, earlier when they're on the beach, they do see a dead bird, and Rod's like, don't touch it, it might be infectious.
Wow. Oh that dude is going to be so sorry he wasn't nicer to you on Twitter.
Look, I'm not going to lie, even if you've been nice on Twitter, I can't deny. And the thing is, people have to know how bad his performance is.
You're doing the Lord's
I was
work.
going to say you're doing a public service.
Noble.
So they do introduce at least a bird before this. Like, I'm talking 8 minutes before they attack.
It's true.
And Elaine, do you want to describe what the birds look like?
Putting Elaine on the spot.
Imagine that you have a blurry photograph-inspired drawing of a bird. Take that image and do a very horrible cut and paste job of it digitally. Make that image blurry. Make it sail around the screen in a movement that does not capture birds in flight, and then take a dump on it, and you have about what we got in this movie.
Or just have them stay perfectly still in the frame.
Well,
and just
they
animate
hover.
the wings up and down, up and down.
Or
up
hover.
and down. Yeah.
They hover a little.
They do.
Yeah.
And they do
menacingly.
They kind of
supposedly.
flap their wings.
Sort
Kinda,
of.
and
It's like a drift. It's like a slow...
It kind of reminds me of a drone.
Yes, agreed.
Like
agreed.
if you were going to take a bird and wrap its skin in a drone.
or like those cat drones they made in Sweden.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me a little bit of that. But
The birds also are kamikaze. Apparently, if the birds just smack it in the ground, sometimes they blow up.
Oh, they explode,
They explode.
like actual explosions.
they do. They'd explode.
Because that's science.
And the explosions
That is
seem to fade on. Just by themselves.
It's a thing that happens. What are you going to do?
They hit, they explode, and then they fade.
Yes, they do.
So, yeah, Rod and Natalie wake up, and then they see the birds are attacking. By the way, the sound is like just the screaming of 1,000 nightmares. The audio of these birds.
Yes, it is.
And basically, they say, can they get in? He said, not for now, but they will, or something along those lines, as if he's read the script and realized they have to leave the hotel. Because there's no reason for them to leave. The birds are not getting in. They're just kind of floating there. Just stay in the hotel. Rent some fucking, get some HBO, rent some movies. You're good.
You already have the crabs. Might as well stay put.
The place has water. You can drink out of this thing, although I don't know how to drink the water out of that thing. But,
you know what my problem is about the visual effects as a whole in this movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Tell me more.
So, you've got the fucking birds. You've got the fade-on explosions. You've got all this shit in this movie. Yet, he did an actually pretty decent job of rotoscoping the curtain that covers the bird.
Interesting.
And that is the part that pisses me off the most as a visual effects person.
Maybe that was shipped out, and it took too long. He's like, I'm doing rest.
No, that right there, that's just fucking lazy. Because obviously, for that 5 minutes that you took to rotoscope the bird showing up in the window, you didn't do that to the rest of the movie.
So what you're saying...
What I'm saying is, you fucking asshole.
Not where I was going, but okay.
Oh, and also filmmaking 101. If you're going to fade out right before the sex scene, don't have them waking up in the exact same clothes that you faded out on the sex scene on. because apparently they put their clothes back on to go back to bed or after they've had sex. It doesn't add up.
Doesn't quite work.
No, that doesn't work that way.
But apparently Rod's phone is dead because,
reasons.
And the thing is, like, nobody doesn't just leaves their phone charged. Even if it's in the car, like, hey, babe, that was some awesome sex. I'm going to go out and get a Diet Shasta Orange, and then I'm going to go to my car and get my phone charger. You know what I mean? You don't just leave your phone to die in some cheap hotel. And he can't find his keys, which, I just say, hey, Natalie, just fart. It's a hotel room. How do you lose the keys?
Wow. That was bracing.
My thinking regarding the cell phone is that as a multi-millionaire now, he has no concern for cell phone bills.
Right?
That his imaginary butler will pay for the bills.
His Jeepsy.
Alfred.
Yes.
But this is when they run into what I called Not Rod and his girlfriend.
Yes. Ramsey.
Ramsey? That's his
name?
His name.
Ramsey.
Ramsey, buddy.
And he's like, I have a van. So even though we're safe in here, let's go get in the van where it's dangerous. And it's also loaded with machine guns. Don't ask me why I have those, fuckface.
Well, you're forgetting that Ramsey says, here, take these hangers and defend yourself.
Which I thought Rod was going to be like, this is good because I accidentally ejaculated in Natalie. It's time for an abortion.
Oh my God.
It can wait, Rod. Oh.
Wow, that was...
Babies are not solar and eco-friendly.
All right, dude, we need to move on.
All right.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, so they start driving around in the van, shooting machine guns off of the birds. They find two children actors who, in the long line of horrible kid actors, are these the worst kid actors that ever lived?
They're really bad.
They're pretty bad.
They're really fucking
terrible.
They make the Mac and Me kids look like Oscar stars.
I'm hungry. I was in the car a long time.
That's actually not an exaggeration. I actually think that you're a little better than the kids are, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, their parents just died, and then they're not directed to really care. Because within 5 minutes, they're kind of giggling and playing PSP
They're
and
like,
having a good old time.
This is funny.
Mom's dead. They stop off and get a couple of supplies, and they meet a dirty old man who explains to them that this is the
bridge doctor.
Yeah, that this is all the product of global warming.
This random guy just hanging out on the bridge who's just staring off into space, and he's like, "Yes, it's all because of global warming. We should have listened. We didn't listen, and now the birds are gonna fuck us over." Okay, but that's actually better acting than this guy.
Well, and he says that like global warming is the cause of like certain diseases and stuff like this. And okay, no, it's fucking not. If you're going to have a message in your film, do even just the smallest amount of research, because when you want to be a cause for change for something you believe in, but you get everything wrong, you're more detrimental than doing nothing at all. Mm-hmm. Because everything he says is fucking incorrect.
That's true. That's a good point.
And it just makes the whole, because I believe in global warming because I'm not an idiot. And, the thing is, it makes the whole thing seem like it's complete farce.
Exactly.
If this kind of movie is coming out
Absolutely.
saying everything incorrectly.
You're right. Like I had said before, it was a noble intention to try to bring light to a subject like this. But, I mean, you're just raking it through the mud at this point and giving fodder for, people who don't believe in... I can barely say the words. It's fucking ridiculous.
A third of the population.
Yeah, dude. But it ruins it for us, for the argument's sake.
And this is the most hysterical part of the movie, is Natalie says, "Boy, you sure know a lot about birds." And he said, "I should. I'm an ornithologist." And what he meant to say is, "I'm an ornithologist," because ironically enough, an ornithologist is the study of the right use of language.
Oh my God, that's great. I didn't know that. That's great.
That's the greatest fucking discovery of all time.
And he has the greatest line of all. It's like, it's not the birds. The real threat is man.
Delicious.
So deep.
It's almost as good as
deep.
'Twas beauty that killed the beast.
Down the line, Ramsey is taking a nap. He wakes up. He says, "Where is my girlfriend?" To which Ron goes, she's taking a shit. That's the line. Then Ramsey pines on being in Iraq war and why we all can't just live in peace. So now it's like a war movie, too. You know,
it's like a thing.
He's just like hitting on all the big notes of, around the time.
It's like war.
He's trying his damnedest, I'll say that.
But then poor Becky just dies taking a shit. A bird just comes and cuts her throat while dropping a dece. That's not the way
bad
you
way
want
to
die.
go.
But I mean, at least, you don't crap your pants. Your ass is already out,
That's you, John. You're my glass half full kind of guy.
Well, you know what? She's fertilizing the ground. I bet a beautiful flower grows in her poop. It's kind of beautiful in a way. Oh, by the way, earlier in the movie when they go and get supplies, that actress is not there because she had to quit the production to go to college. Yeah, therapy.
I mean, I was going to say therapy because
therapy would have worked.
This movie would have driven me to
And
therapy.
the scene where they're like, the little kid's asleep in the car, and from, when you can't see her, they're like, stay in the car with the little boy while he sleeps. It's because she's not there.
Oh my God, really?
It was one of the scenes they shot near the end of the movie where they didn't have her anymore, so they just had to explain why she wasn't coming into the convenience store.
Wow.
You mean he didn't want to pull a Tommy Wiseau and just recast a person? Who's
Well, that's why she dies. That's why they kill her off taking a poop.
Okay.
But, from there is a double-decker bus. The double-decker bus.
This is the greatest thing of all time.
To which Ramsey is like, we need to kill them birds! They killed Becky! So here, I'm going to try to explain this as best I can. Their car, which they are shooting out of the window at the double-decker bus to shoot the birds in front of the bus. Now, every bird they miss, they're shooting the bus!
So that means the people in the bus are getting shot at.
It's okay. There's only like 4 people in the bus. It's the most underwhelming scene ever.
After Ramsey's shooting, he's lucky only 4 people are left. Okay,
it's true.
He's taken out probably 20.
It's so true.
And as these people get off the bus, they're still being attacked by birds. And the strangest scene in the movie, and that's saying a lot, happens where, like, is it piss? Like, birds explode and, like, 3 gallons of piss land on their heads?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere or no explanation, and they're all just kind of mildly annoyed, like, oh,
bird
darn,
piss.
3 gallons of bird urine.
Yeah, darn. Yeah. But that's not how that works, because the white part is their poop. Or the white part's their urine, and the little dots their poop.
Really? Mm-hmm. I didn't know that.
That's how bird poop works. Oh, wow. I don't know why I know that.
Funny
story, a bird did poop on my head once, and I was like 12.
That's horrible.
It was awful. We were in an aviary, and it was like some kind of like tropical hummingbird thing. And I didn't think my grandma was ever going to stop laughing. I mean, to the point where she had big tears rolling down her face, and I thought she was going to poop herself. And not to say that my grandma like wasn't a woman full of mirth. Like she had a great laugh, and she wasn't like one of those like real jokey grandmas. Like she was super intelligent and really sharp, and and she was very witty, but she wasn't anybody that you just like sit and watch dumb TV and like laugh forever with. So for her to laugh like that, it was kind of a big deal. I mean, I was 12. Nothing is cool when you're 12, and getting shit on when you're 12 is like the worst thing that's ever happened.
You got shit and pissed on.
I did, and it took forever to get out of my hair.
I imagine it did.
It was rough.
But yeah, our heroes just leave them, I guess, after quote unquote saving them. They pop by a gas station where we get a completely incoherent gas station owner.
Yeah.
Like, what? What was that?
Huh?
Yeah, can you come again? And basically, $100 a gallon, and this is the most acting we get from Rod. $100 a gallon, that's crazy. It's like,
God Almighty.
And the thing is, yes, it is Rod, but you're worth $10 million.
Yeah,
overnight.
yeah. What's $100? He's got a bunch of money. What the fuck?
Then a cowboy steals their gas.
Yes,
as you do, and
gotta watch out for those cowboys.
He is backing up slowly with the gas. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. A bird just swoops down and rips his throat out.
Yep.
And then they look over his dead body, and he also has a cheek wound, as everybody has a cheek wound, because the makeup artist was like, I really know how to do cheek wounds. So everyone's getting a cheek wound.
That's all he knows how to do.
Yeah. And then they leave the gas behind like idiots.
That part pissed me off.
Yeah.
By the way, it's like, okay, your gas is just sitting there.
$1,100 worth of gasoline.
$1,100 worth of gasoline just sitting there, and you don't take it?
Yeah.
The logic, I think when movies like this, when logic falls apart, I think that's what makes you the angriest, because there's certain things that make sense, I think, universally, and taking the gas would be one of them. And when they don't, it's so infuriating. I think a lot of instances in movies where like logic just falls away, where I don't know, it makes you crazy.
But I think I remember being in the theater when we were watching it with you guys, and I think I was yelling at the screen saying, "Take the fucking gas!"
Dude,
What's wrong with you?
I was like 6 beers deep by this point, so I don't remember.
Oh, I'm sorry to rewind, but we're going to go back a couple of scenes. They meet the old man because they're deciding to have a picnic on the beach where the fucking birds are.
It's a thing.
Oh my god!
And there are people summering on the beach.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Because they couldn't close the beach down.
No.
Right, of course not.
And the thing is, James, just frame your shot without the people in it. Don't get a shot, or like review the footage and go, oh wait, there are people on the beach in this shot. Let's try it again.
No.
Or like when they find the little kids and it's supposed to be a birdemic, but there are people just driving by slowly on the other side of the street because once again they couldn't close the street down. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No.
This movie's kind of a mess, gang. I don't know if you've noticed.
I fucking hate this movie.
But they hear a
hate
creak, and Rod, like a fly to a bug zapper, just says, "Oh, I hear a creak. Let's go inspect. Noise make me happy." Yes. And this is where we meet friend of the show, Stefan, who I call in the movie the Nature Boy. Woo! Who is out there to save the trees. And, he says, like, oh, the birds are attacking gas stations and things like that, that are disrupting the environment.
Well, he's got, like, the beat on what's going on. He's the Fred Gwynn, if you will, of the situation, explaining what's up. He's explaining the pet cemetery to us.
And the actor who plays the guy is super cool. And he actually did, the other day, I did an interview with him. So we have a little bit of a soundbite.
Right. Oh, this is so cool. Okay. So,
Seriously?
So John was like trying to reach out on Twitter, and we got that disappointing response from Alan Baugh, and then the girl who plays Natalie didn't even answer him at all. But John and I, we looked and we tried to figure it out, and we realized the guy that plays, is it Tom in his character, or just
he's called Tree Hugger?
Okay,
it's called Tree Hugger.
I think he has a name in the second one. He's in the second one. But Stefan, right? He goes by Stefan. Mm-hmm. We found him online through a law firm where he works. He's an attorney. It's his law firm. And so John just, we just came up with a quick email and figured why not? Sorry for emailing you here. Couldn't find you on Twitter. We had some questions about the film. And the next day, like out of the blue, he just called John. And
that is amazing.
It was amazing because we both were doing something else, and he got the phone call and he was like, and I grabbed my the recorder on my phone, and we just sat and just listened to him, and he talked to us for like 20 minutes. He was so fucking nice. He was so nice, and he had a lot of interesting things to say about the show. So,
and do we want to just play just a quick soundbite real quick?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
He had some great insights. So we'll in his own words let you guys hear about what it was like working on set with James.
Oh, it was really interesting. So I'm expecting a film crew and everything. So the meeting place was Half Moon Bay, where we filmed this scene, and we were supposed to meet at a 7-Eleven. I said, fine, that's crew parking or whatever. So I show up, and first thing I see is a box of 7-Eleven donuts on this hood of this car, and I said, oh, that's cool. Craft services is what we call it. And then the next thing you know is I ask this blonde gal, and it was Whitney, who's Jim? Who's James? Which one is James? And he's that guy there. And I think he was sitting in his van, which became the mode of transportation for the protagonist in this feature.
Yeah.
It was his own. It was the same vehicle I think he took to Sundance. So it's kind of funny. But so there was James, and I met him and had a couple. I had a donut. I like donuts. 7-Eleven actually. I'll plug 7-Eleven. They make decent donuts. And then we went out to this forest and started filming. budget. I think you probably you know a lot about the background, right? Like he did it all on his own string, and
right.
And I think so. He did it on weekends, et cetera, et cetera. And turns out Whitney did my hair. Well, I should say makeup. I mean, hair was the wig. So Whitney helped me keep the wig on because it kept drooping. But it was a lot of fun. And I think the other funny part about that day of shooting was James, of course. Sorry, James, I'm reporting you, but I'm sure the statute of limitations has run out. James didn't have a permit to film where we were. So some state, I think it's a state park in Half Moon Bay. If it's national, I'm not sure, but there was a couple of rangers that came by. We're standing there with a camera, and he's doing my side or the side of the children and the protagonist. And all of a sudden he sees these rangers, and he yells at it. He says, oh, pretend we're on a picnic. So it was just like a really wacky experience. And, you know, I thought, I left it that day thinking, oh my God, I didn't even know what the movie was about, because he didn't give me the whole script. People don't understand that. I just had my scene. So I thought, oh, well, it must be something about global warming and, you know, some spin-off of Al Gore's thing.
So obviously that was James, you know, and we'll eventually put up the whole interview. It was about 20 minutes, you know. Maybe, you know, sometime during the week we'll just put up the full thing.
Maybe we'll throw it up on like a Wednesday.
As you clearly hear, he had a lot to say. Very candid about working on this film.
But, you know, he worked that line, I think, of, you know, being a really, you know, being honest, but being a good professional. And, you know, as he says a few times, like, he had a good experience. So he had heard, you know, there were complaints from other actors that had been on set for more than one day. But he said for his part, things were pretty short and sweet.
Right.
He did not, as he said, get into the second film. He didn't discuss that with us, but he said, like, if you want to ever talk again, just let me know. I cannot
awesome.
express to you, like, he was so kind and just, like, so gracious, you know, and one of the things that he touches on is that he talked to Bill Corbett from Riff Tracks.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, because they did like a parody, you know, with him and with Bill and the wig and like all that stuff. And I mean, Stefan was such a good sport about it. He was like flattered that they, you know, riffed on him. And like, I mean, he was a cool guy. I mean, it was a shame because like he was talking to John. John had him on speaker. So it's a little creepy that I was there because he has no idea that I was. But he said it was cool if we recorded it.
I gotta say, like, he did some of the best acting in the movie.
Yeah. And he's actually like a pretty steady working actor. Like you guys will see in his interview, he's actually like doing some other stuff, you know.
That's awesome.
He's kept working. He's mostly versed in theater.
Yeah.
But he was working on some pretty major projects pretty recently, and also like being an attorney, which sounds time consuming.
A little bit.
But he was the coolest dude, man. It was so awesome. It was so cool to talk to him. He was so kind and like gracious, you know, and generous with his time.
And so after they talk with the nature boy, he said first up, he says, "Oh, there's a mountain lion. I need to go." Because you just hear roar on camera. And yeah, that's the greatest way to end a scene when you don't have an otherwise way out of your scene. Oh, it's a mountain lion.
You know, here's how I would have ended it. Have one of those fucking birds just like blow up him.
Yeah. Dude. Well, he was in the second one. He couldn't have been in the sequel then.
No, but that's what I mean. Like if you're trying to end the scene.
End with a bang.
Why a mountain lion? Why not? Oh, I hear the birds. We should all hide. But I guess what he was saying, the birds don't attack out here because it's all serene.
But what I mean is, like, if you're trying to do some sort of apocalyptic movie, why wouldn't you just have like the character who's just giving you all this information just kind of like bite it by one of the birds?
It would have made sense for his character to die, but I'm glad it didn't.
I mean, I'm glad it didn't either. I want to talk to him
again about the second one.
As I said, I looked up the second one, and he does have a little bit of a kind of the same sort of part.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's the same character in the second one. So, but
I love that this movie's so fucked up. We're just ignoring the wig. But
well, he talks about the wig. Why would we? We'll just let him say it in his own words. Yeah. It's totally fine.
But they are starting to leave, and they smell a forest fire. And Brian, how do you feel about the special effects of the forest fire?
Brian, you've never looked so dead inside. John, I'm worried. Come on, Brian.
I've already said
Brian,
what I feel.
Brian, come back to us, Brian.
Listen, I've already said what I feel. Okay.
You know what really bothered me about this shot?
Everything.
Was that it was blown out when they were running. Like, okay, first off, ratchet down your exposure. Put down neutral density filter on there. Put some
He doesn't know what neutral density is.
It's so true.
Put some C-stands up there
He
to block
doesn't
the
know
light.
what a C-stand is.
Come on.
Oh, the
James.
humanity. The humanity.
But they run through coughing, and I mean, once again, not giving any direction. Cause like, and then they forget to cough, and then right before they get in the car again, as they get in, because he's probably yelling, cough! Off camera, you know, like, but yeah, so they're out of gas. What a surprise, they left the gas.
You know, if you got the fucking gas thing, you wouldn't be out of gas.
So upset.
So they go fishing. Thankfully, the van has everything they need.
Because it has a
fish.
fishing rod just in there.
Like you do.
Yeah, which he's like, fishing rod, like me.
Now you're just being cruel.
Okay, he didn't say that. He just said, like, oh, there's a fishing rod.
Yes.
And real.
Look, I'm not saying anything against Alan the man, but as an actor, it's this performance. Wow. So yeah, so they catch a fish, they get some seaweed, they start to eat. The birds start attacking again for our big finale. And wouldn't you know it, it's anticlimactic and stupid because they go back in the van to hide. And from what I've read online, because I've seen this movie multiple times, I did not realize doves saved them.
Oh,
Yes.
interesting.
It is doves.
I didn't realize it was doves. I thought it
And
was
the
just
doves scare off, the hawks
seagulls?
and stuff.
Or
Who are like,
No.
oh, fuck.
Yeah.
You know, and they just get out of there. And they all start, the doves and the hawks are all floating out to sea. And they all look and go, she goes, why do you think that happened? And Rod goes, I don't know. And they just watch the birds fly away. Roll credits. Oh boy, credits.
You wascally white.
Roll credits. That's the end of the fucking movie.
Yeah, it has no climax.
There is no plot. There is no character development. There is no arc. There is no anything. There's no first, second, or third act structure. It is just a series of incoherent events.
I'm going to be honest with you guys, okay? I had to watch this movie again for this review, okay?
It's so much.
I don't hate you guys. I was the one who said we should review Birdemic, okay?
There are some movies that are hard to watch. This is actually amazing to watch.
No, this one is hard to watch if you're not drunk and with a bunch of people.
That's
because
true.
I passed the fuck out.
You were dead sober by yourself, right?
Yeah, I was dead sober. Okay, by myself watching this, and I passed out 2/3 the way in. Okay? Because it is not only the most incomprehensible piece of shit I've ever seen, but it's boring. It is so boring.
It's badly paced.
It's badly paced. So if you're trying to watch this, if you want to fall asleep to something, watch Birdemic, because you'll fall asleep through it, okay?
Well, until you fall asleep, and then the screaming siren of the hellbirds wake you up. Like,
the dulcet
That's
tones
nightmare
of
fodder right
flighting
there.
death.
it's just everything about this movie. You couldn't break down every single thing because every single thing's a mistake. Like in the movie, Natalie and Rod find Captain Horny and his imagined peace girlfriend, and they're just sitting in their car with the windows down, and they've been gouged to death by the birds. But they rolled their windows down, allowing the birds in to kill them. Why didn't they just keep the windows up? This is just one of many. Every single scene has a scene where you go,
like I said,
why?
When logic goes out the window, it's the most upsetting part.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, this movie is amazing. Like, you almost have to go out of your way to make such an incoherent mess.
It's
what
true.
Amazes me the most about this film, okay, is the simple fact that it not only was made, but that it was distributed. That right there.
Do you think
is
someone
the
just took
kicker.
a look and was like, this is going to be the biggest piece of dog shit and people are going to love it? Because, I mean...
Well, he took it to Sundance and he self-promoted the thing. And
Yeah.
he put half the work into the film that he did self-promotion.
That's my thing. You did so much work for self-promotion, but why couldn't you do that to make the movie?
Well, I think he had gotten a billboard and they didn't spell check it, and it was Birdemic.
Ah!
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Oh my
he
God.
paid thousands of dollars for a Birdemic billboard or sign or something.
I'm assuming it was just like white on black on white.
Probably.
You know, pretty much.
Like the Imagine Peace sign.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus.
Yeah, but
There's some free plugs there, Yoko.
no, but this movie, I mean, I've seen a lot of bad movies, okay?
Mostly because of John.
No, not mostly because I mean...
The ones you hate the most
are because of John. The ones I hate the most are because of John. But, I mean, I've seen some bad movies in my time, and I'm generally pretty forgiving about bad movies, okay? I try to find some sort of redeeming quality in just about everything. But there is no redeeming quality in this movie. There's nothing.
There really isn't.
Okay?
It's so bad.
And the simple fact that he made a sequel that completely ignores any of this stuff. Like, if you look at the sequel, they don't talk about any of this. Mm-hmm. They have, like, one line of dialogue in which Natalie says, "Oh, remember a couple of years ago when the birds attacked us at Half Moon Bay?" That's it. That's all there is.
Well, the new plot is so rich, Brian. They really didn't have time to retread things.
Oh, God.
But, I mean, we always do this at the end of, a Pantheon. Like, you have to see this movie if you haven't seen this movie, though.
Yeah, there are some things that we will talk about where I will say avoid at all costs.
Yeah, we'll
you
help
have to see this movie.
We will always look out for you, dear listener. But
I would say,
to see this movie.
If you have to see this movie, do not see it sober and by yourself.
Yeah, I mean, or if, sober is your thing, that's fine, but don't see it alone.
You need to see it with a group of people, because the comments that you will come up for all of this shit will be the only entertainment value that you will get from this movie. This movie's dog shit. Hate it.
But it's amazing, because, like...
It's amazing dog shit.
Bath salts. That's what you should see it.
Every single review on IMDb is like a single star, but all of them are like, don't be fooled by the rating. Like, go see it. See this movie. See it. Every single one. It says, like, don't be fooled by the rating. See this movie now.
I wish Amazon and Netflix had an ironic rating. Because I would give this movie 5 out of 5 stars, ironically.
I would give this movie negative. Okay? I would give it negative stars.
How can you not have fun seeing this movie?
My favorite is that he says how he hates it in so many different ways, though. That's my favorite.
Here's the thing. I had fun seeing it with a group of people who riffed on it. And that's what I'm saying. The only entertainment you're going to get is literally, like, laughing at it and making fun of it. That's it. That's all there is to it. It's all external entertainment. It's not from the movie itself. It's just laughing at how bad it is. Okay? So... if that's what James Wynn wanted, then great. Congratulations. He did. But I'm getting the idea that he believes this is a really good movie.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. He thinks he made the most compelling political piece of the last 30
years. He made
a
giant bird turd. Okay? That's literally what the man made. It boggles my mind at how inept you can be in a single movie. Like, this is what a short should be. Okay? And I'm not someone who's going to sit here and say that I've made the best films ever. I haven't. Okay? We all start off making shit. Okay? But I don't make a feature-length version of my shit. Okay? Yeah. And I don't believe that my shit is the next, Citizen Kane. Okay? No. It's called, I take that movie that I first started making and I hide it away so that no one ever sees it. Because if they did...
We all have that shame
film. We all have that shame film, okay? We all have it. It's okay. Everybody's got one. But you don't celebrate the shame film, okay? You hide it away. Give it some fish heads, okay? But my point is that this movie, it's so bad, it's not even so bad, it's good. Unless you're getting entertainment value from making fun of it. Which that's the thing. You do. You love this film. I think this is like one of your favorites.
Oh, yeah.
This in The Room.
Yeah.
But it's so bad.
The Room has a special place.
The Room's got charm.
It does.
Yeah. But, oh, God.
But yeah, guys, I think this might be the Zeus of our Pantheon.
I don't even know if I could call it a movie.
Don't say that, Elaine, because it's all downhill from there.
Well,
we got plenty of
there's so many good ones. About. Cool Cat. We got to do Cool Cat.
Cool Cat Saves the Kids?
Yeah, we got to do that one.
God. What about The Last Vampire on Earth by Versace?
No.
No.
What about The Last Vampire on Earth by Versace? What about The Last Vampire on Earth by Versace? No. What about The Last Vampire on Earth by Versace? No. What about The Last Vampire on Earth by Versace? No. What about The Last Vampire on Earth by Versace? No. What about The Last Vampire on Earth by Versace? No. What about The Last Vampire on Earth by Versace? No. What about The Last Vampire on Earth by Versace? No. What about The Last Vampire on Earth by Versace? No. What about The Last Vampire on Earth by Versace? No. What about The Last Vampire on Earth by Versace? No. What about The Last Vampire on Earth by Versace? No. What about The Last Vampire on Earth by Versace? No. What about The Last Vampire on Earth by Versace? No. What about The Last Va John just showed me some of Versace shit. No.
We can't.
I can't.
We're doing it.
Birdemic looks like a fucking classic, timeless
That's
piece
really
of
hard
art.
to say.
What about Double Down by Neil Breen? We're doing that. We're doing the Neil Breen trilogy.
Okay, I don't know who Neil Breen is.
Brian, you and I are going to have to be really drunk.
Okay.
But hey, it's pumpkin beer season, so it'll be fine.
Okay, well, there is that.
I'll get some Warlock for us. We'll be all right.
So yeah, Birdemic, go and see it if you have to.
Shock and terror.
No, see it. If you haven't seen it, go see it. See it, listen to our review of it, and then go watch it again.
See it if you're a masochist. Okay, that's what I'll say. If you really like torturing yourself, go and watch this movie.
It's fine. Anyway, big thank you to Stefan
yes,
Gustavson,
it was great
who
talking to him.
Gave an awesome interview and was so nice. He is my favorite person, and that was the coolest thing that happened to me this week. So thank you so much.
Lane, where can they find you at on the Twitters?
Find me at LA_Croft. I tweeted a lot this week. I think I was like lonely or some shit. So tweet at me, y'all.
It's because our marriage is falling apart and we just don't talk anymore.
True.
You make me sleep in a small cot next to the bed.
By in all fairness to me, you sleep on the cot by choice.
I do. It reminds me of my time in that Warsaw prison. You can find me at the Unreal J Wool. So Yoko, let me know how you feel.
Oh God.
Sorry, Yokes, didn't mean it. Love you, boo.
You can find me at Brian Collington. I also run the Psycho Show Twitter. Be sure to like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google Plus at Psycho Show. You can also find us on the Epicast Network at epicastnetwork.com. If you have a favorite movie or question you want to throw away, or you want to talk to us a little bit about Birdemic and your experiences with it, you can contact us at cinemapsychoshow.com. Make sure to subscribe to us on iTunes. Send us a rate, send us a review. We love getting those. And be sure to catch our new episode available every Sunday.
It's not the birds that I'm afraid of. The real evil is man.
Man.
Serenity.
Epicast.